Right, so welcome to our first podcast. I'm Maria and this is Rachel. We've both been in the industry, fitness industry, for a mighty long time.
Just a little bit. And so how long has it been for you? 20 what years?
Probably a good 25 years, 30 years.
Yep.
Yeah, what about you?
26. Next year will be 27.
Right. So we thought we'd talk today about how the fitness industry has changed over the decades. So I was thinking about this, and one of the biggest changes I've noticed, like back in the day, like this is going back to when I first started, legally, we had to have 2 trainers at the gym on the floor for every 10 people that were in the gym.
Really?
How's that? So you can imagine.
I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
At peak times, there was 2 behind the counter, getting people in for memberships and classes. Yep. And then the floor was just full of trainers. It just had to be. And that's what the safety rules were back in the day.
Yeah.
So what's the biggest thing that's changed for you that you've noticed?
Social media.
Yeah.
Social media. Cell phones. The most popular place in the gym is the toilet, with people taking photos of themselves in the toilet.
Really?
Doing stuff like that. That's a real thing now, which never was anything in the 90s, early 2000s. Cameras in gyms as well. And just, I think the overall feeling of why people go to the gym now, I think a lot of it now, especially with younger people, not just younger people, is what they can post on socials.
So I obviously train at home. I don't go to a city gym. So if you end up in the back of someone's video, does that person ask you permission to post that video with you in the back?
Often no. No. Yeah. You will probably have to say, hey, I don't want to be in your background.
Because they're going to post it online, they add little effects and stuff to it to make them look perfect.
Yeah.
Which I hate. Yeah. That means the standard for women is that even when you're at the gym trying to improve on yourself, you're supposed to look perfect.
Oh, yeah. It's not about the workout as much anymore. It's about how you look during the workout, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's that change. And it is thanks to social media. And they reckon body dysmorphia and body image issues are up by like 30% since the late 90s. And I think it's thanks to social media and
Hello.
And a lot of the images and videos that are out there are not, just like you say, they're tampered with.
Yeah, you get clients that say, I want to look like such and such. And it's like, that she's altered her pictures or she's doing other stuff behind the camera that makes her look like that. Like it's not realistic.
Yeah. And also we do not know what that person is going through in their life. They may have a wicked eating disorder in the background or major body dysmorphia, or their life is just totally around their appearance. And a lot of these girls, and I know that they're around, I hear things from women and they are not necessarily in a good space mentally, and competitors as well. When you talk about bodybuilding, if we want to even go there, there's so much of that. They look amazing online and they look like they've got it together and all that, and they do not. A lot of them do not. They're struggling with mental health. They are totally getting obsessed with this whole social media realm, and it is ruining a lot of women, I think, but they're not talking about it.
I just wish clients of mine and just young impressionable females would realize that it's not the truth that they're seeing on their phone. It's like it used to be. But I must say that even back in the day when we were fluoro outfits, leg warmers, you still had that pressure where you're like, oh gosh, I wish I had that outfit or could do that. Yeah. So.
Oh no, definitely. It's just different now. It's amplified. It's different. We were still going for ourselves because we had no cameras. We would just turn up at the gym and it was better time out because we're not worried about filming ourselves. We're not worried about what we're going to post on social media, and we're just going there to work out.
And people need to post realistic before and after photos. You know, I've got your before photo where you're 20 kgs overweight. We've all got photos like that. And then your after photo, I just hate it if they
Even
are,
filtering for the waste has been brought in.
well,
You can
yeah,
see
that,
tampering with photos.
yeah, the other piss off for me is if they're using enhancement supplements and stuff like that. So people think, you know, naturally I can look like that because look at her before and afters. And it's like, you know, it's not realistic.
That's a whole nother podcast.
I know. Do you think women feel more at home in a gym now around men, or do you think it's still the woman, like back in the day, the woman had their area? It was,
yeah.
very unusual for a
woman
woman.
only gym.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to step into the man's part.
Or you just felt like you kind of couldn't because it just wasn't your zone sort
Well,
of
you
thing.
used to get hassled. Like I train here with Taranaki rugby team and you know, no beef against them, but if they wanted the leg press or the squat rack or whatever, oh, excuse me, I am a Taranaki, you know, rugby player. Your training can wait. And in all seriousness, that happened to me quite a lot.
Yeah. I think there's definitely more women in gyms, which is fantastic. That's one good change, definitely. And there's a lot more younger women in gyms, which is also great, definitely. And in the weight area and stuff like that. So that's definitely a positive change. It's more accepted now, 100%. Because in the you know early 90s and late 90s, it was women were still in the gym though, but not so much in the weight area, which changed once 2000s came into it more so.
When you asked for a program to be done up, it was personalised. And now it's just a cookie cutter program that 20 other people are doing.
Yeah. Or as we talked about in our first attempt at this podcast, which we had our first attempt and now we're on our second attempt, was gym instructors. Gym instructors. That's another massive change in gyms in the fitness industry now compared to, I mean, I started as a gym instructor and it was an awesome way to learn how to work with people, people's skills, working with people with different conditions, injuries, heart issues, just whatever. It gave you floor time and you progressed to being a personal trainer. You didn't just go and be a personal trainer. You often worked your way up, and it was fine to work your way up because you were learning and the experience was what you learned so much from and learning from other trainers, whereas now it's kind of gone.
All right, what else do you reckon has changed over the years, maybe in a negative way? Or is there any positives?
I mean, positives in terms of women are in the gym more. I think that bodybuilding is having a big effect on women in gyms now in a positive and negative way. It's a real blur. Whereas if just because you're going to lose weight doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do a bodybuilding show. Just having a weight loss goal in terms of better mental health, being as a busy mum, that's enough. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you don't have to show.
Yeah, that's when the empowerment, or they think they need judges to tell them how good they are or their followers instead of being able to empower themselves because of how great they're doing every day.
Yeah, like intrinsic motivation. I think a lot of people would struggle to do a bodybuilding show and not post on social media. Because when we competed in the 90s, there was no social media. We just trained and you talk to the guy at the gym that would help you out and you'd get people, you know, word of mouth of who could maybe help you out. And you just did it. You did it. You didn't know who was showing up at the show. And you competed and you went home again. What about fads? Like fads that we've seen from the 90s till now, like I said, like exercise equipment, home-based equipment, Thigh Masters and all that kind of stuff. And as we talked about before when we did our first take, the whole Tony Little thing, how he got me into the fitness industry. He was amazing. He was so motivating and it was like, you know, fitness videos.
Yeah.
Aerobics style on TV2 at 10 or 10:30 in the morning. I still like flicking through I've still got heaps of magazines from years ago. But that was your look to the outside world of the fitness industry before social media and before YouTube and that. You know what I mean? I remember that being a real thing if you made it into a fitness magazine or if you did a bodybuilding competition or you were a trainer or someone and you landed yourself in a magazine. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've done two.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, Fitness New Zealand magazines.
Have you got them?
Yep.
Have you got them?
Yep.
You should have gone on and done a show and tell. Damn, I want to see that. You should send me the
I'll message it later.
What about awkward moments? Maria sent me a voice message last night of what have been your embarrassing moments, or something that's happened to me in a gym that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And I couldn't think of anything. But then I started thinking about awkward situations being a female in the fitness industry, particularly being a female working in the fitness industry. Do you want to start?
Well, I instantly thought when you said awkward, when I got my diploma out of New Plymouth, and then I moved to New Plymouth and I went for an interview at a big gym, the biggest gym in the city. And we went into this little room, so tiny, like a little bathroom kind of size, with 3 trainers and the manager.
Yep.
One of the trainers instantly took a dislike to me. The other 2 were all right. I was in there for 2 hours in this meeting trying to defend my qualifications as a woman trainer in that gym. That was the most bizarre, awkward thing, starting in a big gym. And I went back to the car and my mum was sitting there and she goes, "Why did you take so long?" And I'm like, oh my God. Did you get the job? I got the job. And the guy that gave me the most grief in the interview just hated me for the whole 3 years I was at that gym. He just made my life hell. He was very chauvinistic, kind of, yeah. Did you have an awkward experience or two in a gym?
I had a guy wait outside my house. I've been training him for a while. He was quite a high up real estate agent, and often when I was in the gym with him, I felt uncomfortable with him anyway, just, and I would do an exercise like a tricep pull down and then say, okay, your turn. You say, oh, it's so much better when you're doing it. Or I'd rather watch you do it. And it's just so gross. It's so gross. And then one night he sent me a text message and he said, hey, what are you doing? And he said, I'm outside your house. Can I come in?
What?
Myself at the time, and I was like looking out of my window. I'm like, she's actually there. He's actually in his car outside my house.
I was giving a guy an assessment and he wanted me to measure all over kind of thing, out of the standard. I mean, not all over. He's like, can you please measure just a little bit further up my thigh? And no, just a little bit higher. And I'm like, no, what the? And then he said, well, I know you like me. Look at the way you're dressed. I had on a big blue baggy fitness company tracksuit. It was the most unflattering thing ever. And when we gave people assessments, you went into this room and closed the door. So after that, I talked to the boss and I said, guys do assessments on men and I will do assessments on women. I'm not being put in that situation again. Okay, let's get back to another big change in the fitness industry from years ago to now. And like you mentioned, smartwatches, Fitbits.
Yep, all things digital and technology.
Yep, counting every bloody thing, your step, your calories.
Yep, macros. Reps, sets, which is fine to a point, but I think it's kind of got beyond that with some women. It's just like trying to teach a woman not to hop on the scales every single day. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I do. You can ask somebody, how was your week? And they will list the numbers. I've done this many steps and this many calories. And it's like, no, tell me how your week's been. How you feeling?
How have you been feeling? Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think women, I would like women to probably go back to how things were a bit, not saying we want to live in the past, but go out for a walk and not count your steps. You're out for a walk in the sunshine for like half an hour, 45 minutes. That's enough to know you've gone out for a walk.
Yeah, you don't have to check what your heart rate's doing every bloody couple of minutes. It's crazy.
Or how many calories you're eating.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, you and I don't count calories, eh?
I don't, and I've actually bring that in with my clients now. If they want to count calories, I'm not the trainer for them.
Yeah,
I hate it. What macros? have a colourful
Or
bloody
counting everything out. 1 almond, 2 almonds. Like, eye it up. You can still eye it up and use. I think common sense. We need to get back to common sense a little bit and old school balance. It's kind of that easy without counting everything.
They need to learn to listen to what their body's telling them, because your body will give you all the info you need. You know, have you got headaches, cramps? Are you sleeping? Have you got any cravings? All these are questions that are asked when ladies are on the treadmill. And if they answer them truthfully without going back to these bloody recordings that they've done all week, then I can get to the bottom of what they need. So I've got really strict on that now. You have to learn to listen to your body. I don't care what device you're hooked up to.
It's a mind screw at the end of the day. And I know I've worked with some women that have reduced the amount of how much they count, and they feel better. And same with not hopping on the scales, they feel better. It's like you have way more freedom mentally if you are not controlled by numbers every single day of your life. I liked doing programs that were in a folder, like a clear file.
Oh, yeah.
That I could type out and then write my notes on it. There you go. There's your program.
Yep.
And then after a while, they didn't need their folder, and they could, they're educated enough to do it themselves and then get a program change and not having to walk around with a phone, which again has its positives, but you don't have to go that way. You can still not go down the AI or phone road if you don't want to. Well, we started in the same year, which is kind of crazy because we're not the same age, but we both started in the gym in 1994.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was going to open me up to wanting to be a personal trainer. But when you get a good trainer and you see how much they believe in you and inspire you and motivate you, and, that's my experience. And that was when I was like, wow, I want to do this for a living.
That's cool.
If I hadn't had that first mentor when I first stepped into the gym, I probably wouldn't have become a personal trainer. Absolutely.
So what was the gym like when you were in 1994? Just a brief overview of, compared to now, what was like gyms back in 1994 when you first joined up?
A lot of free weights. You had to, free weights are great because you have to control the direction, more than when you're on a machine. You have to stabilize your body. So there might have been leg press and leg extension and leg curl, but all the rest was just stacks of free weights and really good aerobics classes, step aerobics and fat classes. Yeah. I walked into an open day and I saw a chick I wanted to look like, and I said, I want to look like that. And he said, and he just said, come back on the wall. Pardon?
Was it a picture of her on the wall or something? Or in a magazine?
No. It was a chick standing there that I knew had competed before, and I was like, wow, she looks amazing. And so I just pointed to her and said, I want to look like that. And he just said, come back on Monday with a notebook and a drink bottle. See ya. And I walked out of there shitting myself. I'm like, what have I done? But I turned up on Monday, and a year later I was on stage.
It's so cool. That's quite brave of you, just saying.
That took a lot of guts. Yeah.
You know that guy.
Yeah.
Good.
I was very lucky because he was the president of the NZFBB at that time, or high up in that federation. So he knew everything. He was pretty good, and he was against drugs, which I loved. He was dead against steroids his whole career, and so that suited me down to the ground. Yeah. What about you, your first time?
I was 14 and I saw, like I said, Tony Little, the fitness videos. I loved him, and I thought, man, I'd love to work in the fitness industry and make people feel like he made me feel. You know what I mean? Because he was so inspiring in that. And I used to go past this gym and think, oh man, it'd be so cool to go in there. I had like mirrored bloody windows and stuff. And I saw people walking in there, mainly guys with their bags. And I'm like, I so want to go in there. It'd be so cool in there. And so I did. And I was 14, and they just signed me up, no program, just go for your life. There are the toilets sort of thing. And that's what I did. And I just learned like that, and books from the library, and taught myself. Loved it. I loved how the gym made me feel. And then I just decided to get qualified and went and got my diploma in exercise science, and that was that.
We're lucky we haven't been swayed, to the dark side of the industry and stuff like that. We've kind of stuck to really good values, I think. that obviously we learnt like through Tony Little and that I learnt through Mike Ryan. I think if you have those really good mentors to start with, then yeah, we were very lucky, and I just don't think it happens nowadays for trainers. And I'd really like to know how women are feeling in the gym with cameras, with people filming when they're in the background or social media, and also are they getting the help they need when they're training? Is there people there to help them, or are they just left floundering around the gym? Like, I'd really love people to send in their experience like that.
Oh, you froze for a minute there. Did you see yourself freeze?
No, because I'm looking at you.
Did you find out? Oh.
So where are we going to get them to send these questions to? Are they going to leave it in comments, or are we going to quote our email?
Email.
And what is our email?
It's just fit beyond 40.
Oh, it's fit beyond 40 podcast at gmail.com, I do believe. If you want to send any questions in, or you don't agree with something we've said, or you do agree highly with something we've said,
yes,
Rachel's going to confirm it in a minute, but I do believe it's fitbeyond40podcast at gmail.com.
Yes.
Otherwise, you can leave a comment below.
Yeah. Leave a comment. Or anything else you might want us to discuss. I've got like a crap load of content and ideas that we're going to do over the next, I don't know how long, because we're doing one every fortnight, right?
Yeah, we're going to do a podcast every fortnight.
We can talk about perimenopause.
Because
the latest and greatest. It's everywhere. And good and bad.
It's just overkill on the topic, and I think it makes ladies feel mentally a lot worse than they probably need to feel at the time.
Or freaking out, like, oh my God, I'm going to be going through this. I'm freaking the hell out, because I hear it. Women are freaking out about it. Like, oh my God, I heard this woman talk about this. And I'm like, just put it into perspective, because not all women go through that like quite really awful time. A lot of women do, but not all women do. That's not necessarily going to be your experience. So everyone just needs to chill out a little bit on that topic, I think. I think awareness is really good, but it's also installing fear into a lot of women.
It is.
And I think we need to talk about that.
Well, it affects mental health, because they're like, oh my God, is my next decade of my life going to be this crap?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that will be a really good podcast. We'll probably dive into maybe mental health a little bit.
Eating, calorie restriction, what's diets, and just a whole nutrition thing, perhaps.
So we do have a whole list of topics that we're going to talk about that we'll get better and better at this. We've got a little bit of technical issues as we learn how to do this.
We are not technical people. We are like this is our third take.
This is our third take. There may be a fourth one yet. We don't know. This morning you messaged me with your awkward gym moment, and you mentioned a man. I had a very similar experience, but I want to hear your story first about this man and his junk.
Well, in his junk.
His junk that everyone could see when he bent over. And I want to know how that was dealt with back in the... So
I specifically remember this guy, and I mean, there's so many weird moments. There's so many weird moments. But I particularly remember this person, and he was an older guy. He looked like he'd be, I don't know, 70s. It makes it worse. I'm kind of mid-70s, late 70s. Now, I love seeing older people in the gym. Don't get me wrong. I love it. I love working with older people in the gym. But this guy had the shortest shorts. These shorts were, and he had no underwear on. Shorts. I can honestly vouch for that. There was no underwear, and these shorts would crinkle up, so they'd kind of be right. They'd sit right at the bottom of his butt. They were that short. And it was quite a tall, skinny guy, and he would often do deadlifts. with a barbell. And if you know what a deadlift movement is, it's a movement where you're bending down with your legs slightly bent or stiff leg, whatever. And we could see everything. We could see everything when this guy did his deadlifts. And I swear to God, he did it on purpose. I swear to God, he did it on purpose. And so you could, if you were walking or there was some woman in the gym that would be like, excuse me, my gosh, this is just this guy. I can see his balls. I can see everything. I didn't end up having to deal with that. This went on for ages, like for quite a long time, until someone, not me, pulled him aside and just said, hey, just so you know, this is not appropriate. You need to wear something underneath that people can't see what's that situation down there.
So we had a guy in the fitness company like that, because back in the day you had the stubby shorts. So it was very common for men to wear the little wee short-legged shorts.
That's what I wore, stubbies, but they're so old, they're like, just like,
yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so they weren't exercise proof. So yeah, we had a guy where his junk fell out regularly as well. And regularly. I can still picture it. It's traumatizing. Right. So pretty rocky. Pretty rocky first podcast. Yep.
And we'll be doing this every fortnight.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Perimenopause next week. No, in 2 weeks' time. Perimenopause.
Maybe to finish it off, what would be your top fitness tip for people to get the results that they want?
Consistency.
You took my word.
I'm sorry. You put me on the spot. So no, consistency rather than just going full on doing something that is either too restricted.
Yep.
Too much like training 6 or 7 days a week, really hardcore, hard 800,000 calorie diet. You are not going to be able to sustain that. If you can just be consistent. They say the same thing about sleep.
Yes.
Stop worrying too much about how many hours you might get a night. Just be consistent over a longer period of time. Same thing with food and fitness. Just be consistent. Yeah, as we sign off, we'll leave you with a couple of 90s fitness fads that you may or may not be familiar with.
Okay, so this is Fit Beyond 40.
Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. See you later.
There you go.
Oh, it started. I better remember my mouth by the microphone.
Yes, please. Just pretend I haven't.
My eyes are worse now because I'm laughing. I need to turn that light off.
Did you want to get up and turn the light off?
Yeah. Yeah. Whoops.